For God to dwell among us, it means for God to make his home with us. You know, in Eden, there's an allusion in Genesis 3 to God coming down in the warmth of the day. And
now, why do you say illusion?
Afternoon.
I mean, it says that, doesn't it?
Yes, but a reference to.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I thought you were saying, well, maybe it didn't happen that way.
No.
Okay.
No, it's just a reference to the
that's
fact.
one of my favorite pictures.
Oh, it's wonderful.
In Genesis.
He comes down and he walks with Adam and Eve, you know, in the garden. But it's temporary. Because they live in the garden and he lives in heaven.
Yeah.
Now, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
How would you like to have God come visit every day?
Incredible.
I mean,
Take a stroll in a place like this in the morning with the Lord.
And very clearly, he's taking a physical form to do this.
Yes.
And this would be what sometimes in theology is called a Christophany, an appearance of Christ before his incarnation. I think because who's the God-man? Jesus Christ. So I think when God comes down in human flesh in the Old Testament, the most natural understanding is that it's the Son, Jesus the Son, who takes on temporarily a human flesh, but one day he will permanently take on human flesh, which has already happened now, but I mean looking forward to the incarnation in these Old Testament passages. Well, so God comes down and he walks with his people in the garden. And it also says, by the way, he planted the garden. Not just he created the garden, he planted it.
I missed that.
Yeah, planted it. Well, planting means taking stuff and putting it in there. You know, seed into the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even say God got his hands dirty.
Oh my God.
You know, to create this garden. And this is his tender, loving care.
Did you hear
for
that?
his
She
creation.
says, no wonder she loves to garden.
There you go. Yeah. And no wonder
Does that
we
mean
love.
it makes you more like God?
Yeah. Is
Makes
God
us closer.
Is God a gardener? Yes. Is God a carpenter? Yes. Is God a maker? Yes. So many things that we love to do. Does God care about animals and tend animals? Yes, he does. And there's all of these places in Scripture that tell us that. But now getting back to the idea of God coming down into the garden.
Yeah.
All right. But then he goes back to heaven where he lives, which means God and people, though there is nothing separating them relationally as they live in Eden, they don't live in the same place because God's a spirit and human beings are spirits but in bodies, and they live on this physical place called earth. Now, fast forward, incarnation of Christ, death, resurrection, ascension, return of Christ, resurrection, new heavens, new earth, now Revelation 21:3. It says, now the dwelling of God is with men. He will come down and live among them. They will be his people. God himself will live with them, and he will be their God. God will come to live with us. Not merely that we will go up to live with God in his place, though that would be wonderful. I mean, what a great promise that would be. And that is the promise. That's where we go. We go to live in God's place when we die. But here's the magnificent promise of Scripture, and it just blows you away. And it would, to make this up, if we thought of this,
in your book.
if we thought of this, we'd think, who are we to even come up with such an idea? If we came up with it, it'd be obviously
blasphemy.
totally, it'd be blasphemy. But God says, it's not simply that you're going to come up and live with me in my place. I'm going to come down and live with you in your place forever. I will make my dwelling place with you. I will live with you. I will bring my joy. I will bring my presence, which is the heart and soul, the center of gravity of the entire universe. I will bring myself down to earth. All blessings come from God. He is the source. And so you don't have to wonder about happiness and blessing and whether it'll be there when the source of all happiness and blessing will come down to dwell with us, to live among us.